Students, good afternoon.
Afternoon, sir.
Uh, is it clear? Audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Okay. So in the last class, we discussed about the women question, how the women question is arise, particularly in the colonial uh, India or colonial context, where women suffered with certain blind beliefs in the society, no proper education, and they are away from the education since the decades, and they confine only to the domestic works. And again there are certain inequality uh, with the status of women uh, among among the lower and upper sections also. Oh, which is also the important criteria, which had certain doubts why such a uh, uh, such inequality which among these women from the ancient times onwards. For this, certain challenges which followed by various reformers in the modern times, and many women sympathizers who challenged that inequality, and also which is negligence regarding the women up to the colonial part. In the colonial period, when the Europeans entered in India, where gradually the Christian missionaries entered in India, where the Western ideology developed, where the modern form of education has gradually, which followed by various sections, particularly from the middle class, the encouraged British encouraged middle class. They started challenging the uh, question, they question among the women priority and status of the women. Okay, so then the women question has started, which followed by various sections later, and the women question is strongly supported by a separate section from the women class. Particularly, they believed the women writings only from the women side, where those section which come out with a came out with a movement is nothing but a feminism. Within the women section, a radical writers, a group of radical writers, which challenge the status of women. Okay, so which turned into a movement of feminism in various women in various countries, various nations during the 19th and 20th centuries. And still at the same time, the India following a traditional section, and some of Indian reformers, male reformers, who had the sympathy towards this women question, also condemning and challenging the traditional social evils which following in the society, particularly particularly those evils which confine to the Indian women. Okay, so all those social evils were challenged with a woman question. Today, we're going to see how and why this woman question is necessarily a social question. Okay, so how the woman question, which deeply, which deeply, supported by this woman question from the various sections, particularly from the Indian traditional society. Okay, so we'll see how this, why the women's question is necessarily a social question, which is uh, how a gender question is linked to the other social institutions, such as the family and kinship, uh, family and kinship, marriage, caste, and private and public order, and why this intersectional analysis has to be adopted to understand the women question. This means that women question has to be understood along with the questions of caste, class, race, and ethnicity. A sketch of the way the women's question emerged in modern India, and why the women question was so central to the 19th century social reform movement and the 20th century political movement for freedom and colonial rule. In other words, this account foregrounds the women question as a pivotal social question and outlines its links to other organizing structures of society such as caste, class, tribe, and nation. And you also find certain major changes that reoriented the gender question after the 19th centuries. Okay, so we'll see the woman question, how it become a social question. The women's question emerged in the 19th century. This was the period marked by the growth of middle class reform movement across different parts of India, which raised critical questions about a range of social practices such as sati, prohibition of widow remarriage, child marriage, denial of education to women, etc. Okay, so as this such a list indicates, the central social reform concern pertain to the women, their social status and role. Okay, so and before going to my explanation, I have to share a small screen which related to this women social reform movement, which started by various reformers at the 19th century or colonial India. Okay, so and okay, so and I will give you how this reform has started, why this the women question turned into a social question, what who are the various section of a particular women um, who raised this question at a peak level. Okay, so when it the answer to the question why this woman question turned into a social question, why so many of 19th century social issues were about women's question, which entails a discussion on the role of gender as an organizing principle of society. Okay, so gender, like class, caste, defines not just locations of individuals within a caste or class, but also structures the entire society. Okay, so it's society, it institutions such as the family and kinship, work, politics, as well as the values that inform the society. For instance, for example, we can take the dominant in a society and see that it's clearly patriarchal. Okay, so you are aware that you find the patriarchal society still in the modern or the contemporary period also. Okay, so here the society and see it is a clearly patriarchal. By the term patriarchal, we mean that it is a society which is dominated by patriarchal authority. That is an authority vested in a dominant male figure within a social structure, which allows men to have greater power and control than women. Okay, so further, this dominance appear to be both natural and just. Patriarchal authority is reflected in the structure of its family, marriage, and kinship on the one hand, on and in the structure of economy, polity, society, and culture on the other. Okay, so we can take the help of two other certain other related concepts such as patrilineal and paterlocal to explain how the patriarchy operates through basic social institutions such as the family and marriage. In the patrilineal society, the line of descent runs from the father to son. Uh, in other words, the son carries his father's name, inherits his property, and is the legitimate heir to conduct all affairs in the name of his father, ancestors, and family. When you see the patrilocal, residence pattern means that in patriarchal society, the bride leaves her natal family to live in her husband's residence, adopts his name, and bears children not just to the husband but equal to secure future progeny for his family and lineage. Okay, so this is the gender structure at the micro level of the patriarchal family, marriage, and kinship system that exists in the large parts of India. Okay, so and such as some changes may taken place and certain things may differ in and around such a such other societies in the Indian context. Okay, so the story is different in matrilineal societies such as Kasis, but there two authority resides, often the maternal uncle, even when the line of descent runs from mother to daughter. It is some exceptional. Okay, so in the ancient time, in Indus Valley civilization, it is somewhat different when compared to the Vedic civilization. Then, from the Vedic civilization also, you find clearly about how the patriarchal society is strengthened and how it continued till today. Okay, so it is important at this point to emphasize that the family kinship structure does not operate in isolation from other systems such as the economic, political, and cultural. Okay, so for example, the patrilineal line of descent implies that the son alone inherits his father's property and carries on his name. In other words, the daughter is in such a society would not have the right to property or the possibility of an independent existence. Okay, so thus even today, while the law may allow daughters to inherit property, many daughters forego the right in order to maintain their familiar relationship with their brother, which is about affection but not entailment. Okay, so and you can find as for so far we may discuss the issue of gender as an organizing principle, as though all families are the same, as though all individuals are located within the same kind of families. Okay, so this is this as we know is not true. Thus, the middle class urban families are different from the working class families. Likewise, the Dalit family and the landed family of twice-born caste in the same village are located is differently. You find, okay, because you all are from the village background, rural background. You are aware that you find certain differences between the status of lower class women and the status of upper caste women. Okay, so this is a clear about. It is very clear about the status at present day also. Okay, when you see certain uh, things regarding the women question, basically how such women question developed in the 19th century. Okay, so where this taking into the consideration both the mainstream accounts and its critics, it's done roughly like a mandatory mention of 19th century social reform movements and the articulation of the women question, the growth of women's writing and voice in their women voice in the same period, and the emergence of women's groups in the early part of 20th century, the links between the women's movement and the national movement and the early left movements, and the caste and gender question within the outside of national movement, that history writing had excluded for long, and independence and and the state domestication of the women question, which is like such you the things you have to see within the colonial period. Okay, so all these things are happened within the within the British Indian rule. Okay, so and there are certain things, certain mythological issues that you have to you go through it, and this should briefly touch upon. Okay, so where the great feminist texts that gain worldwide attention on this women issues. Okay, so and these inspired by the women Western ideas of equality for all, and the woman turned around to ask, if people are free, then why was India unfree under an alien rule? And if all people are free, then why are Indians not entitled to self-rule and vote? Okay, so such questions arise within the colonial part. Okay, so and the emergence of women's question in India reveals a rich and complex account of manner in which Indian nationalist and feminist negotiated the Western ideas, accepted by many and reworked others to create a parallel but distinct accounts of the women question. And it is important then to emphasize specific context of India's colonial modernity within which the women question emerged. A point of clarification is needed here. Okay, so are we arguing that Indians had no idea of injustice against the women earlier? That is certainly not the case. Okay, so women's writings reflecting on sense of oppression have been in existence in India from the earliest times. However, what did not exist was the sense that these were injustice, and that therefore there ought to be deliberate efforts by the state and society to bring certain reforms in the early in the pre-independence or colonial period. Okay, so when you see the colonialism and the modernity along with the women question. Okay, so India's tryst with the modernity has been inextricably linked with the British colonialism. Okay, so and you can the complexity basically where the two cannot be disengaged, even as the women's question cannot be disengaged from our complex relation with the colonialism, where the colonialism and modernity both are parallelly going on one side, and women question is on the on the other side. Okay, so where the complexity is rendered more, so not just because of the nature of colonialism, but also because of our differential relationship with the colonialism. Okay, so this difference could be on the basis of religions, classes, caste, and communities. Okay, so and which is history of late colonial India has always prioritized Indian nationalism, such that it came to be assumed that world of political action and discourse can be comprehended only through the categories of nationalism, imperialism, and the communalism. Okay, so the radical historiographies of colonial India, though they emphasize the autonomous role of peasants, labor, and other subaltern groups, equated the historiography of colonial India with that of Indian nationalism. Okay, so and the British colonialism, which spread all over India at different stages, impacting different regions differently, both because of the stage of colonialism, as well as because of nature of different regions. Okay, so thus there were periods of reluctance to meddle with India's social customs as those related to women, and periods of active involvement to intervene, such as abolition of sati in 1829 or raising the age of consent for women in 1863, which brought forth a fury of hostile reaction, leading again to phase where the British preferred to rely more on their conservative allies. Okay, so these are certain important evils which challenged by various reformers. Okay, so where among them Raja Ram Mohan Rai was one of the important pioneer who challenged such evils in the society. Basically, he was the first social reformer who challenged the sati, the custom of sati, which in the upper are the elite class in the Indian society, elite women class in the British Indian society at that time. And um, we have to see such things, and there are certain things to be discussed here also, where in India the trajectory of colonial capitalism and modernity led to the recasting of women as a creatures of domesticity, and the housewife came to represent both a full-time and natural vocation. Some major aspects in the culture of Victorianism influenced the emergent model of reformed women. Some of these can be identified as the domesticity, respectability, improvement, and conventional Christian morality. Okay, so in the 19th century, it was claimed that the status of a nation could be gauged by the status of its women. Okay, so Indians were thus berated for the pitiable condition of their womankind. So Indian social reformers responded to this challenge, and we had a major recasting of women in modern India. In this recasting, we had a construction of middle class domesticity similar to that of Victorian England, which defined the normative Indian woman as a gentle, refined, and skilled in running a home. Okay, so and reformers thus wanted to devise a system of education for females that would enable the wife to serve as a solace to her husband in his bright and dark moments. Okay, so likewise, if a woman can educate, then the family may be educate or mobilize. Okay, so this is the main cause behind the various reformers how they supported the education for women basically. Okay, so with the intensification of national movement, however, new ideas of socialism, of equality and development also gained ground. The actual entry of women into political action altered the parameters of imaging women's role in the nation. Okay, so ideas of liberalism, of equality and citizenship gained the ground. Okay, so at the idea of a modern middle class domesticity remained a powerful influence. A contemporary look at matrimonial advertisements would show how strong and pervasive the nation of the modern, educated, but homely woman is. Okay, so along with the ideas of liberal equality, rights and citizenship, we therefore had new notions of modern notions of domesticity. Okay, so at the same time, the issues of cultural pride is one's own tradition for a colonialized society continue to be a great importance. Okay, so however, what defined the tradition in a diverse and unequal society was and remains contested question. The long-term implication of this have been examined later, later chapters or later modules. Okay, so when you see the generations have studied in the 19th century reform movement as a simple, straightforward measures to do away with the social evils like sati, child marriage. The last 30 years have witnessed a plethora of literature in the field belying any such notion and foregrounding both the complexity of the reform process. On the central aspect of this problematizing the social reforms in the recognizing that the early initiatives have been taken largely by men and that the reformers belong to mostly to the upper caste only. Okay, even the mobilization of women, which is started by various reformers, that reformers also from the upper caste section. Okay. So, and the specific problems addressed and the modes of their addressing were very often restricted by region and caste location. Okay. So, and a more dramatic instance of how these research have made us rethink issues is the case of Widow Remarriage Act, which legally allowed upper caste widows to remarry. Okay, so but simultaneously through codification of laws obliterated the rights lower caste widows had traditionally availed of under their customary laws. Even though Widow Remarriage Act bill passed, and which is where in initial times it is only confined to the upper class women. Okay. So not followed by the lower class sections due to their due to certain unaware about these laws and also certain rigidity in the society and these lower class people are following such a traditional and Sanskritization of things basically in their society. Okay, so and the other process as we initiated was the reinterpretation of Indian culture and the special role within it marked the Indian woman. In the idea of cultural regeneration were embedded complex ideas of what constitutes culture. The cultural practices often chosen as emblematic of community and identity pertain to women's mobility. Such examples like the child marriage, parada, sati, the social death of widows. Okay, so but if women were icons of Indian culture, the contentious question in a plural society like India is which of its women and which of its cultures ought to become the national icon. Okay, so when you see the concern of 19th century, uh, when you see the 19th century question, basically it is important to emphasize that with the intensification of the national movement and spread of internationalistic ideas of socialism and democracy. Okay, so the women question could not be contained within the restrictive parameters of one or other reform movements. And there are many women organizations also, you are aware, like women within women's organizations like All India Women's Conference and women within the national movement insisted on the great political and economical participation. Okay, so the legacy of women revolutionaries and trade union activities and underground nationalists is a such part of the historical legacy that independent Indian state inherited. Okay, so when you see the participation in the 20th, 19th, and 20th centuries, you are aware that many, due to the uh, efforts of these reformers uh, who challenged such social evils and social rituals in the society, like Raja Ram Mohan Rai and many other reformers who Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar and and many others like Veereslingam Pantulu and Jyotiba Phule, Malabari, likewise many important Karve, DK Karve, like many reformers who like a sympathizers towards the women issue and who started mobilizing the women by establishing various educational institutions and they started mobilizing through their speeches and writings. They initiated the changes in the women lives. Okay, so with the influence of these reformers, male reformers, many women reformers like Pandita Ramabai and Tarabai Shinde and Begum Rukia Sakawat and many women reformers like Durgabai Deshmukh, Sarojini Naidu, and many other reformers who started their efforts to change the lives of Indian women, particularly during the times of colonial India, okay, British India. Okay, so this is about my lecture today about how and why this women issue turned into a social issue. Okay, so dear students, this is end of my class now, and tomorrow I will give you the efforts of various reformers in 19th century, how they changed the Indian society basically. Okay, so uh, by the side of women. Okay, so this is end of my class today, and I will give you tomorrow about the reform as a part of second module. Okay, so in the second module you can easily go with these social reform movements, social religious reform movements, which are led by various women and male reformers, and how they contributed their life towards change of these status of women in the colonial India, which followed since the ancient times. Okay, so this is end of my class today. Students having any doubts or question regarding this women question, you now welcome to ask.
No, sir.
ఏమైనా ఉన్నాయా క్వశ్చన్స్? చిన్ననాగయ్య, శ్రీ విద్య.
No, sir.
ఓకే, రైట్, థ్యాంక్ యూ.
సార్ మాకు ఇంటర్నల్స్ ఎప్పుడు సార్?
ఇంటర్నల్స్ ఇంకా సర్క్యులర్ రాలేదు. మేబీ ఒక 10 days
Okay.
తర్వాత ఉండే అవకాశం ఉంటుంది. సో దానికి సంబంధించి
Okay.
సర్క్యులర్ వచ్చిన తర్వాత మీకు నేను అది ఫార్వర్డ్ చేస్తాను, చెప్తాను ఎప్పుడు టెంటేటివ్గా డేట్ ఫిక్స్ చేశారనేది.
ఓకే సార్. ఓకే సార్.
ఓకే, థ్యాంక్ యూ. ఐఎమ్ ఎండింగ్ మై క్లాస్.
థ్యాంక్ యూ.